Hello beautiful subscribers, you're welcome to yet another class. You're going to be learning how to cut a basic black block.
To our back block, what you need to do is to draw out the line for your zipper allowance. Now for my zipper allowance, I'm going to use 1.5. You can decide to do 1.25. So I'll just give a 1.5 space for my zipper allowance. That's if your dress will need a zip. Okay, and you just connect the lines. You can decide to rule your full length first, so you know where to stop on the 1.5. That's actually better. So now I'm going to take full length of the back. Now remember, on this front block, I don't know if you can see it clearly. Yeah, so remember, on this front block, we took a dart at the side, right? Can you see the dart at the side? 1/2 inch on both sides. That's the bust dart. Now for the side to match with the back, you need to take out this 1 inch at the back. Now going back to our back, what I'm going to do is to remove 1 inch from the full length of the back. Now the full length of the front is 16. Now for the back, what I'm going to do is 15. So my full length for the back panel is going to be 15. So the full length, I'll just mark 15 across and I'll connect it. So after marking it now, I'm going to connect. Then remember, I told you that it's better to mark your full length before you start putting your zipper allowance, so you know where to stop. So this is me trying to mark it down again. So now I can stop here. So the next things we are going to draw are our bust line and our waistline. So our bust line, like we said in the front, is 9.5. So I'm going to mark 9.5 across. Nine and a half. So I'll connect the 9.5 all through. So that has been done. Then you go on the beginning of your paper and measure out your shoulder. And the shoulder here is 8. Like I said, since I'm drafting on the paper, I'm just going to add the 1/2 inch allowance right away. Then I'll still come down and create my armhole box. Now for me to do that, my armhole measurement, like I said, is bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. And mine, the result is 7.2. I'll add quarter for each to make it 7.5. Then across, I'll make sure that that point is exactly on the shoulder line, which is 8.5. Then I'll just connect it to form my armhole box. Can you see that? Now I'll still go out a little and still put down my armhole measurement, which is 7.5, to properly connect the box. Now after doing that, I'll now come and impute my normal standard for neckline, and the neck width we use for the front, whatever width you use for the front is the same neck width you use for the back. So what I use is 4, and I'm still using that 4 for the back. Now for the depth is usually different, though it depends on what you want to create, but for the purpose of this class, my own neck depth for the back is going to be 1. And so I'll get my cuff and connect it. So I'll still go out to the beginning of my zipper allowance and mark that 1 and use my ruler to connect it neatly, right? So on the armhole now, I'll still come down by 1 for the shoulder slope and I'll connect it. Yeah, So the armhole, the remaining thing we have after coming down by 1 is 6.5. 6.5 divided by 2 is 3.2. So since it's the back, instead of coming out by 3/4 on the armhole, you come out by just 1/2 inch. Then you connect it to the shoulder slope. Having connected, you will now use your curve to bring out the armhole curve properly. So this is it. Yeah, so now same thing for the back. You rule out your bust span. Mine is 3.5, 3.5, and I'll connect it together. But now usually the dart line for the back is usually longer than that of the front, so I usually use 9. So I'll still go up by 9 and put in my bust span measurement, which is 3.5, and I'll connect it to that 3.5. Yeah, so I'll come to the waist and take out 1/2 inch dart on both sides. Then I'll connect it to that 9 years that I came up by. Can you see that? And so the dart of the back has already been formed. The dart for the back has already been formed. That's all. Then the final thing I'm going to do is to, not actually the final thing, the next thing I'm going to do here is to impute my final measurement. So my bust divided by 4, which is 34, will give me 8.5. So I'm going to mark 8.5 and add my sewing allowance, which is 1.5. Then my waist divided by 4 is 7. 7 plus the 1/2 inch I took on both sides for the dart is 8. 7 plus 1 is 8. Then plus my sewing allowance, which is 1.5. So I've already put my measurements and I'm going to connect it together with the bust measurement. So that's that for the back panel. Now there's something we call zipper bulge. Now if you do not create the dart properly on the zipper area, you will find that after making the cloth you have swollen effects at the zipper line. So to avoid that, you need to come and create a dart at the zipper side so that will not appear there. So how we are going to go about that is that you come to the zipper allowance measurement and go in by 1/2 inch. When you go in by 1/2 inch, you connect it straight up. You form a dart and take it in a slanted way, in a slanted way rather, to the upper part. Wherever it ends there. So whenever you want to take your zipper measurement, you will start it from the point where you came in by and mark your normal 1.5 inch measurement. Then normally on the down part, what you do is just to come up by 1/2. This is not mandatory, but you can decide to do it. Come up by 1/2, come up by 1/2 rather, and slant it to the end. So when you want to cut out this, you will cut out this 1/2 that you slanted out, and you also cut out this 1/2 that you came up by on the end, on the waistline. You cut it out, you will cut it out, right? So that's basically it for today's class. As you can see, this is what our back panel looks like. Can you see it? So when you want to cut out, you just cut out like this, like this, like this. You follow all the lines and cut it out. Now for this dart, the best thing to do is to go and impute it after you have cut out your fabric. Use your chalk and draw it and sew it in. That is the best way to do it, because if you cut it out, it's going to be funny because it doesn't cut through to the up. So the best thing is that whatever you've drawn here, just cut it out normally and go and draw it on your fabric when you've cut it out. Then after drawing it, you can just sew it in. So that's basically it for today's class. I hope you understand this class. If you have any question, please come to the comment section and ask me your questions. Remember to return anything that you take out as that to the end of your allowance, so that you don't have shortage after sewing. Even this 1/2 inch we came up by to avoid zipper bulge. Always return it at the end, right? So I'm just going to quickly return it at the end because I did not do that. So I'm going to return it now and reconnect the line at the side. So that is that for our back panel, guys. As you can see the way it looks now. And so this is our front panel, right? All right, guys, see you on the next class. For the next class, we'll be treating a basic trouser pattern. See you on the next class, and thank you for tuning in on my channel. I love you all. Bye. Ask your questions in the comment section. Thank you.